What is up, new Era Sens family? Jackson here, bringing you guys another weekly report. And before we get into this one, I did just want to send my sincerest condolences to the friends and family of Brian Fraser. Now, living over on the West Coast here, I never had the pleasure of actually meeting Brian, but I did interact with him now and then on Twitter, and it was quite evident the impact that he had on Ottawa and the sports community in general through his love for the Saints and Sens. I know he will be dearly missed. All right, so first up on the agenda this week, we have Ottawa's 5-4 shootout win over Montreal on Tuesday. There are lots of positives in this one. Drake Batherson opens up the scoring off a really nice feed from Derek Stepan of all people. You know, and I think this is the time we really realize that it's officially bath time in Ottawa. Like, this guy's looking like a legitimate top six forward. He's slotting really cleanly, you know, and he's getting a bigger role here, and he's scoring at will. So that is absolutely awesome to see. Now, unfortunately, Stepan is forced to leave with what appears to be a shoulder injury just later on after this play. It's really tough to see though, because Stepan's been dealing with shoulder issues in the past, to my understanding. So that's never a good thing to re-aggravate those kind of the injuries you've been dealing with your whole career. And obviously, if you look at the play here, he looks like he was in a lot of pain going off the ice down the tunnel. So we hate to see that. We're still waiting on the official word in terms of a timeline for Stepan, but DJ Smith did note that it was going to be week to week. More positives in this game, though. I mean, Tkachuk was just a monster. This is probably one of the best games I've seen Brady Tkachuk play. He looked like the captain in this one. Like, he just came out ready to play, pulled the boys into battle, scores 2 huge goals, one of which was the tying goal. So, I mean, that was great to see. He had that awesome battle there with Ben Chiarot, beat down on him, went into the box after, and then there was that amazing moment that was captured between him and Tim Stützle. It's the kind of roommate chemistry there, so that was really awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, Brady's just the best. I think you can tell he's going to be part of this leadership core for a very long time, whether he's wearing the A on his chest or the C there. I mean, the guy is just a stud, and we're so lucky to have a player like Brady Tkachuk on the Sens. Eric Brandstrom gets his first NHL goal in this one. And I mean, this just demonstrates his talent for getting pucks to the net. It's, without being too dramatic, it is very similar to what we saw with Erik Karlsson, with how he could find lanes from the point to the net. I mean, that's basically what Brandy does on this one. On Carey Price, too, of all people. I know he's been struggling, but he's still a premier goalie in the league. And Brandy gets a shot through from the point and gets it in 5-hole on Carey Price. So, yeah, that's just him finding a knack for the net, you know, finding a clean lane. And, yeah, that goal is overdue, in my opinion. It must be a huge weight off his back. So that was awesome to see for Brandy there. Now, there's a really, really controversial no-goal call with just 2 seconds left on this one. And Brendan Gallagher voiced his concern over the refereeing in this one and how angry he was. And I mean, I do understand it to a degree. There's so much gray area with this rule with goaltender interference. And to be fair, in the play, Matt Murray was bumped. I mean, he was spun around. Whether Gallagher got in there on his own power, was bumped a bit by Zaitsev. He was in the blue paint and knocked Murray around, so he kind of spun. But, you know, there were a couple seconds in between there and the goal, so I think the argument for the Habs and Habs fans is that Murray did have time to reset. Yeah, and I mean, I understand the frustration. It's definitely a controversial call, and you kind of think, what happens if this was in the Stanley Cup final, Game 7 Stanley Cup final, and this exact play plays out? What do you do if you're a referee in that situation? So, yeah, it's difficult. I do feel for Habs fans a bit, but, you know, I saw Gord Miller was voicing his opinion about how he thought that was a no goal. So, I mean, there are people who do believe that was in line with the rule book and that shouldn't have been a goal. But, yeah, I mean, I lean more towards the bias. I was a goaltender when I played hockey, so I think some people don't understand how much that can rattle you when you get bumped. Even 5 seconds later, you know, you're not quite set in terms of your positioning and your angles. So we would have been upset if that one had been a good goal, I think. So it's tough, but I definitely understand the controversy behind it. And you know what? Nonetheless, the Sens deserve to win this one, and they showed that with all the high-quality chances they were getting in overtime, and then, of course, delivering in the shootout. Tim Stützle, 19-year-old Tim Stützle, comes out in his first ever shootout attempt. So clutch. Just displays the kind of Patty Kane skill set he has, I think, with those hands, and goes low on Carey Price, so that was awesome to see. And then Matt Murray stood tall, didn't let a goal in the shootout. And then fellow rookie Josh Norris comes out and just shoots high on Price, and wins the game. So clutch. You love to see it. That was a good win for the Sens. I think the boys probably were pretty happy about that one. And did they get lucky with a no goal call? Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would think that probably one should have been a goal, but sometimes you have to be good to be lucky, and the Sens were just that. Moving on here, we received news this week that the Sens released forward Philip Chalapik, and Pierre Dorion said in his press release, and I quote, "After considerable dialogue with Philip and his representation, we have mutually decided to part ways. We're appreciative of Philip's efforts with the organization, both in Belleville and Ottawa, and wish him the best as he moves forward." Kind of like what happened with the Rudy Balster situation here. It's always tough to lose an asset for nothing, especially a young asset. I mean, Chalapik's 23, so he's still kind of in that prospect mold. But, to be quite candid about it, there just wasn't really a spot here for him in Ottawa with all the forwards coming up. I mean, think about it. We have Formanton, Pinto, Abramov, Brown. It's all these guys are going to come up and they're going to want spots. And I don't think Chalapik was at the top of the organization's priority for getting a spot over guys, especially over guys like, Pinto and Formanton. He's just not going to beat those guys out. So you have to just hope he finds success elsewhere, whether that's in the NHL or overseas. I think he passed waivers, so we're most likely looking at him going back to the Czech Republic to play back at home. And of course, corresponding with this move, Logan Brown was recalled, so he's been since practicing with the team on the taxi squad here, and you have to hope he gets some game time. I would love to see him in one of the games this week, maybe that Thursday game coming up against Calgary. I think it's past time he gets his first look in the NHL this season. Up next, we'll break down what was, in my opinion, the best Sens game we've seen all year. 6-1 win over the Flames here. Starting with, Timmy's superstar. He just looked dangerous all night. Once again, I mean, he's really coming into his own here as an elite forward. Not just on Ottawa, but in the league. On the first goal, he just uses his speed to get a shot in. Batherson cashes in on that rebound. And that's now a 4-game goal streak for Drake Batherson at this point, who has 6 points in that frame as well. Eric Goodbranson gets his first as a Sen. Just a nice seeing eye shot from the point. A little bit light on Riddick there, but it was good to see Goodbranson get rewarded. Then Milan Lucic actually scores on a rare Nick Paul mistake, but Connor Brown makes up for that right away, gets a steal, cashes in. Great takeaway and a huge goal there to get the Sens a 3-1 lead back. Then later on here, Eric Brandstrom actually scores from half ice off a bouncing slap shot that fools big save Dave Riddick there. But I mean, some may see this as a lucky one, but the interesting thing about this goal is when Brandstrom takes that shot, he's actually looking down the boards the whole way and then gets that one on net. So it's a bit of a cheeky play by the youngster there, and it works for him. It goes in, 4-1 Sens. And after that, I would have loved to see Brandy play more in this one. It really wasn't Mike Riley's best game, I don't think, all things considered. And Brandy was still benched for Mike Riley on several occasions in this one. I think Brandy finished with just over 12 minutes of ice time there, despite being a +3 with a goal. So, I mean, hopefully DJ gives him some more opportunities soon. I know he has been struggling a bit on the defensive side, but, he just totally changes the dynamic of our offense, and it is really important to have him out there. Now, the 5th and 6th goals in this one are both scored by Colin White. First one's a bit of a bad goal on Zagadulin there, who entered in relief of David Riddick. Final goal, however, is just a nice little feed from Shabbat. White buries that one-timer. And DJ Smith actually commented post-game that White's playing banged up in this one. And he's been playing hurt for the last couple games, actually. But, we'd never know because he's been playing really well. It's great to see White finding his groove after being a healthy scratch at the beginning of this year. And, like DJ Smith said in his post-interview, it's really tough to critique a win. There were a lot of things that went right for the Sens in this one. It was a bit of a perfect storm on some accounts. They were a bit lucky in some respects, but I think personally they just, and a game like this, they do have to focus more on just finishing out with a strong effort. I thought the third period there were a bit of, there were some mistakes. There were some turnovers that they probably are going to have to clean up. And they're still struggling to get the puck out of their zone, so they're going to have to find a way to break the puck out a bit cleaner. Next up, we have Ottawa's 6-3 loss to Calgary on Saturday. I think this one was a bit of a coach's nightmare. I think DJ Smith was fully prepared for the Flames to come in hard and really fight back and make it tough for the Sens, and they did just that. I think it would have been a lot easier for the Sens had they got some more consistent goaltending from Matt Murray. I never throw Murray under the bus, but it would be nice to see him string together a couple games where he's really rock solid, and he was a bit out of it in this one. I don't know, it might have been a matinee thing for Matt Murray. Maybe he's not a big afternoon game guy. But yeah, he looked a little out of it, and those first 2 goals were a little rough, scored like 30 seconds apart, so that's never easy to respond to. Yeah, and the Calgary Flames just outworked the Sens for the most part in this one. Some positives, though. Drake Batherson continues his goal-scoring streak, and in doing so, ties a franchise record with Jason Spezza for games in a row with a goal for forwards under 22 years of age. So that's pretty good company to be tying Jason Spezza's records. I think he's doing that number 19 proud that he's wearing there. So that is great to see. The young guys are good in this one again. I mean, Brady gets a nice goal at the end there. The power play looked great. It's one of the best power play percentages we've seen in a while there. So, there's a couple positives you can take from this one. I think they just kind of put it behind them, though, and you got to hope we get some better goaltending from Murray entering next week here. I would love to see Decord get an actual start. It was cool seeing him come in relief, and I mean, look at that setup he had. Those goalie pads and that mask, that was beautiful. It looks great with those home jerseys, but he made the stops. He didn't let a goal in, so it's great to see Joey get a start. Come in relief there, and I'd love to see him get an actual start now. Alrighty, going forward here, I don't really have any Belleville game news for you guys this week as they've been on a sort of 11-day hiatus, not playing any hockey. However, we did receive an update that they're going to be playing their home games at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa. It's going to be great for those AHL guys. I'm sure they're going to love having the kind of NHL facilities and being playing in that rink. And I think management likes it, having the AHL guys close by to facilitate roster transactions. So it's probably a win-win there, and it's a good situation going forward. Okay, and just one final thing in this video. Ryan Dzingel did practice for the team on Sunday. Doesn't sound like he's going to be playing Monday or Tuesday. I think the trainers want to ease him into it a bit with not skating for 14 days. So hopefully we'll see him on Thursday, but it could even be a bit later than that. No real idea where he's going to slot in yet, but I believe he's probably going to play with Chris Tierney. Those two have played together in the past and have some chemistry there. So we'll see what DJ's decision is with the lineup. Alrighty guys, that's all I have for you in this week's report. But if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe here at our new Era Sens YouTube channel. We'll be sure to bring you guys news every single week, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.